Good morning. Is small the new big idea in farming? We'll have more on that a little later. Now, negotiations have started on a UK-US trade deal. Trade Secretary Liz Truss is in the States meeting her counterpart, Robert Lighthizer. All next week we'll be focusing on imports and exports and what possible future trade deals could mean for farming. Now back to our home shores, and a wet and windy hillside between Exmoor and Dartmoor doesn't really sound like the dream location for a productive market garden. But it's where for the past 3 years farmers Olivia James and her partner Henry Allenson have created one from scratch. This week we've been hearing how different farms have been coping with the coronavirus lockdown, and today's farm is tiny. On just less than an acre, Olivia and George grow more than 50 varieties of organic vegetables using no-dig methods. Claire Salisbury asked Olivia for a virtual tour.
I'm just walking into our main growing polytunnel right now. It's pretty hot. I need to open the side vents, which I haven't opened yet, even though it's mid-morning. It's a really exciting time in the tunnel. It's where spring is meeting summer. We've got crops growing from last season, and then new crops are just going in ready for the coming season. So I've got lettuce here in front of me that's been keeping us going since last October, which I'm just about to take out. And then I've also got tomatoes that I planted yesterday that are going to be ready hopefully in July.
It's a site that people were maybe quite surprised that you decided that you were going to grow vegetables on.
It's definitely marginal land, not ideal vegetable growing conditions, but it was the land that Henry, my partner, who I farm with, and I had available to us. I was farming at a community farm in London, and then Henry and I met. And Henry was quite keen to go back to his family farm and start farming. But we were still quite young and inexperienced. So in between then, which was about 2013, 14, and now, we worked on other farms. We went to Australia, worked on larger farms, smaller farms. And then probably in hindsight, not ready, but we thought we'd just jump the gun and move back to his family farm and use a bit of land there to try growing veg ourselves.
It is an acre or just under an acre of land that's incredibly productive, right?
Yeah, so we produce onto retail value of about 40 or 50,000 pounds of vegetables off under an acre of land.
What would you say are the challenges of being a smaller farm?
Investment is really high in farming, no matter your size. But if you're on a smaller scale, it takes a bit longer to make that money back so you can reinvest and keep improving your farm. However, we did choose to be small. The farm, which is Henry's family farm, is larger than our acre. We could have used more land if we wanted to, but we decided we wanted to farm to try and build a really healthy ecosystem and a healthy soil. So from that ethos, we then chose to only use hand tools at Down Farm, with the aim of having a healthy soil so we can grow really healthy veg, which is nourishing and tasty. Sorry, I just have to stand my sprinkler up. It's just fallen over. One moment.
Tell me about your customers. Tell me about the market.
We go to 2 farmers markets. We have a really small box scheme of 15 people, and then we sell to a couple of local shops and restaurants, all within approximately 20 to 30 miles of the farm. But we have had to change in light of the corona pandemic, and we've changed to we only sell to one local shop who's still open, and we have opened our own online shop, and we're selling to about 60 or 70 people, and they're all within 5 miles of the farm. Even if 10, 15 of these customers who have been using our online shop stay with us, that would be fab.
Olivia James there in North Devon. But how big a part can tiny farms like Olivia's play in our food system? The Ecological Land Cooperative says they're the future. It buys agricultural land, then divides it into small holdings. It gets planning permission for houses on each one, then sells or rents the plots at well below market value. The idea is to allow new entrants into farming without the need for huge capital. Alex Laurie is the director of the Ecological Land Cooperative.
What we do is provide local authorities with a set of assurances so they can have absolute confidence that the land will remain available to starter farmers living and working on site in perpetuity. We take some of the benefit of planning uplift to cover our running costs, but most of it we hold back and we keep it out of the marketplace, and that way we're able to make both rental and ownership options available well below market values.
So looking at our wider food and farming system, how big a part do you think the very small farms can actually play?
Well, globally, most food comes from smallholdings, and it's well understood that the productivity per acre on smallholdings is actually superior to that of larger farms. Now, it's true that in recent decades there has been a preference among policymakers for larger farms so that you can deploy more mechanisation and so that landowners can get greater return on their capital. But we think that the times are very much changing in our direction, and the concern these days is for productivity improvements without a lot of chemical and fossil fuel inputs, and for livelihoods and local economies that are not orientated towards rewarding land ownership, but rather orientated towards rewarding production, and particularly production of high quality food with the kind of nutritional value that I think is lacking in a lot of people's diets. So we think that these smallholdings, with their high attention to quality, their focus on low impact and working with natural systems, and the high productivity per acre, really do represent the future of farming.
The coronavirus pandemic has already had a big impact on our relationship with food, hasn't it? Do you see that having an impact on your projects?
Absolutely. I think there is undoubtedly a huge concern growing globally that with the lockdown happening in so many countries, there will be a huge impact to food production, and local food security is going to be more important than ever. So we really want to make a good contribution to that.
Alex Laurie, Director of the Ecological Land Cooperative. That's all we've got time for this morning. I'm Anna Hill. The producer in Bristol is Heather Simons, and the studio manager, Tim Allen.